getting out of hand again. But a good focused day, or at least a bit of morning and a bit of afternoon, I'm thinking will probably bring it round. And well, you can see the grass. It's not grass, it's jungle. So I'm going to get that sorted out. I am going to do a bit more path because Danny's coming around. He's going to bring me some wood chip, which is fantastic. So I'm going to carry on down here. And well, I've got quite a lot of harvesting to do. And I know people are saying their beans have been a real struggle, and they were certainly slow in my case. But I'm feeling today like I've got to pick like mad, because they're all of a sudden there's just stacks of them. So I'm going to be doing a bit of, well, harvesting of that. Lots of people told me that if your onions fall over, it means that they're ready. And well, my shallots have all just tumbled, so I'm guessing they're ready. I'm going to take them out. I think I'm going to put those in the Polytunnel for a few days, because there's no guarantee of the weather at the moment. But number one on my list today is to harvest my plums. So the tree's starting to look like it's losing leaves. The plums are not big by any stretch of the imagination, but they are certainly ready. And I think I'm going to get all those off the tree and get them into a container. And then I'll have a fairly big job at home today, what with beans and plums. Good times. Well, I don't like mowing the grass at the best of times, but I figured today if I do a bit of mowing and a bit of harvesting and sort of break it up a bit, it won't be too bad. I filled up, just got to see if she'll start now. Let's see. Not going too well. By the magic of editing, that's the top section and the path done. Feels good, looks good. Lots of trimming to do, but can do that later on this afternoon. Definitely don't want to do that in the shorts, because the legs end up getting extremely beaten up. Right, it's time for some plums. I've set my tripod up so that we can get a good view, and I've got a bit of a friendly jackdaw here. There are an awful lot of jackdaws in the area, but these particularly like to help themselves to the chicken food, which is a bit of a pain because chicken food is getting more and more expensive. So you, my friend, need to stop eating it. Do you understand? Right, well, there seems to be quite a lot on here, and I'm going to take them all. I don't know whether they're sweet. I know some people on the allotment have got some very sweet plums, but Mrs. K had one and said she didn't think it was that sweet. So let's give it a try, shall we? No, quite dry, but I think it'll probably make a good fruit stewed with the right amount of sweetening. Right, I'll have another bite, give this to the chickens and get on. Here we go. Well, I must confess to being a little bit surprised as to how many there are on that tree. So I've stopped. I've stopped having done, I don't know, probably about half of it. And that's what I got. So I think I'll contend with these, given that I'm going to be picking beans and some other things. And we'll see how we get along. But fantastic. Good times. It's going well. It's not a little wearing, but we're certainly getting under control now. So I've done this path, and this is the area that I'm going to remove grass from. All of this I'm going to show you now, all the way down here, right down to the red currants. That's all coming out, and of course back up here to the water container, because these are the areas that just cause me an awful lot of work, time that I could spend so much more valuably doing the other things that are required on the plot. And I was thinking, when I lift some more of this grass up here, I'm going to start infilling down here, because we've got a definite reduction in height there and I want to try and get things level. So a bit of work to do there. And well, I don't know what I'm going to do about those two paths. As you can see, they don't really work very well. They certainly get a little bit overrun, so I'm going to give that some thought as well. So there we are, that's that done. And I got all of the long side of the polytunnel done, and this is also going to be taken back so that I can put wood chip on it or something and do the same in here. So basically this whole plot up to the edge of that major square will not have any grass in it, and that's the sort of maintenance that I'll have to do, which is almost nothing. And that'll be a great deal of help when you become time precious. That is really important. Okay, it's time to do some of this harvesting. I don't know, it seems like everywhere I look there's beans, but I'll work my way through and see what we can pull in. These are a really important crop to us. We feed off of these all winter and we freeze them. What we do is take the edges off and slice them up, put them straight into bags, no blanching. And there's been a lot of discussion on the channel about preparation for freezing, and well, it's whatever works for you. I'm not saying that this is the right way, but it's certainly not very labor intensive if you just slice and put into bags. It has been pointed out that you lose a bit of colour by freezing and then cooking them, whereas if you blanch them, you can keep a bit of the colour. Now, I've not experienced that, but then we don't blanch, so it may well be exactly right. And if you like that much more colour in what you're eating, and that's understandable, then that might be a good thing to do. Right, let's get on. Well, as they say in good old vinyl album terms, that's side one. Now for side two. Well, I think side 2 won. Quite a mound there, so there's a good few pounds of beans. It's going to be a busy afternoon. That's the toughest bit, getting all around here and down behind the bushes. A real effort. So I've just got a little bit to do around this area, which is still very challenging because it's up and down and it's over pavers that I've put down. So, and I've got a little bit to do down in the middle of the bushes. Grass is a big effort. Oh, and I've got to do along the ridge. I love it. Those looking better. This is only half of it, of course, because the strimming still needs to be done. But I've gone over it twice, try and get it really low, just to keep the workload down, because once you've got the lawnmower over here, if you can give it a close cut, which you can in this weather, then you just get that few more, well, weeks really, before you have to mow it again. Okay, last stretch. I seem to put this off because it's just like an obstacle course. It really is a pain doing this ridge, but there we are. It's got to be done. And I won't be able to get in there until I get the strimmer over. Okay, last stretch of the first half. Well, I'm spent. Whew. There's got to be an easier way. I could get the lawnmower down there, but now I'm here. It's a lift. There we go. Well, that's me done for this morning. Mowing complete. strimming to do. Good times. Well, I've had lunch, replenished my energy, and I'm going to pick a few courgettes. And we've got some giants in here which will be fine for soups and stews. Let me show you a couple. These never seem to sort of grow thin, they seem to grow squat straight away, so they're enormous. I think we'll have a couple of those out, and maybe one more. Let's see, we've got a big one developing here, more customary size. Okay, I do want to show you the competition courgette I'm growing. Only joking, of course, but let me show you how big this one is. Well, this one's a whopper. What's that? Nearly 18 inches long. But this one over here. So here's the giant. It's got to be 2 foot long. It's a beauty. It's going to make, well, a stew, 18 cakes, maybe, who knows, some marrow wine. Well, the back's aching. Cord's just run out on the strimmer. I had that feeling that it could, but I didn't bring the cord with me. So that means a trek home. It's not far. Seems like miles. Get the spool filled back up again. Got to try and remember how to do that because it'll be the first time. And then come back. I tell you what, I just don't have the energy. So I think the rest of the strimming is going to have to wait for another day. I've done most of it. Maintaining an allotment with grass, it's a challenge. And it's made me think very carefully about what I do with paths going forward and how best to minimise these sort of jobs on an ongoing basis. You might have got that sort of theme going on in my head, and I think this winter I'm going to be working towards that in a big way. It'd be interesting. Right, I'm going to harvest some potatoes because I don't have to go back home to do that. Let's get another pot out. Well, a small batch of potatoes, but that will keep us going for a couple of days. Picked a cucumber as well. And that's me pretty much done. And the plot's looking considerably better than it did this morning, some 4 or 5 hours ago. But I think that's me done for today. I do hope you've enjoyed today's video. And if you did, why not like and subscribe and get my updates every Wednesday and every Sunday at 8 PM. Hope you've had a good week. Diolch yn fawr.